Biblical vocabulary 13. 1. Was deaf and had difficulty speaking. 2. Was deaf and could hardly talk. 3. The impediment of his tongue was removed. 4. His tongue was loosened. 5. He gave them orders not to tell anyone. 6. Jesus commanded them not to tell anyone. 7. But the more he ordered them, the more widely they continued to proclaim it. 8. But the more he did so, the more they kept talking about it. 9. Be utterly astonished. 10. Be overwhelmed with amazement. 11. He even makes the deaf hear and the mute speak. 12. He makes even those who are deaf hear, and those who are unable to talk, speak. Again he left the region of Tyre and came through Sidon to the Sea of Galilee, within the region of Decapolis. And they brought to him one who was deaf and had difficulty speaking, and they begged him to lay his hand on him. And Jesus took him aside from the crowd, by himself, and put his fingers in his ears, and after spitting, he touched his tongue with the saliva, and looking up to heaven with a deep sigh, he said to him, Ephphatha, that is, be opened. And his ears were opened, and the impediment of his tongue was removed, and he began speaking plainly. And he gave them orders not to tell anyone, but the more he ordered them, the more widely they continued to proclaim it. And they were utterly astonished, saying, He has done all things well, he makes even those who are deaf hear, and those who are unable to talk, speak. Mark 7, 31-37. Then Jesus left the vicinity of Tyre and went through Sidon, down to the Sea of Galilee and into the region of the Decapolis. There some people brought to him a man who was deaf and could hardly talk, and they begged Jesus to place his hand on him. After he took him aside, away from the crowd, Jesus put his fingers into the man's ears. Then he spit and touched the man's tongue. He looked up to heaven and with a deep sigh said to him, Ephphatha, which means be opened. At this, the man's ears were opened, his tongue was loosened and he began to speak plainly. Jesus commanded them not to tell anyone. But the more he did so, the more they kept talking about it. People were overwhelmed with amazement. He has done everything well, they said. He even makes the deaf hear and the mute speak. Mark 7, 31-37.